what up? Alright, so, a friend of mine was like, hey Gab, why don't you make a Dogmatika deck list? And I decided, hey, it's kind of right, so let's do that. So, I'm running 3 of these. That's 3 Ecclesias. You don't need me to explain why. It's Ecclesia. She's literally reinforcement of the army of the entire deck. Rota, if you will. Run 3 of those. It's pretty standard for any Dogmatika deck. You got 1 Maximus, only 1. You only really want 1. You can run 2. Sometimes I run 2 if I want a turbo Winda, which we'll get to in a while. But I'm good with 1, so I only run 1. We got 2 Fleur de Lis. You could also run 3 of these, or if you want, you could run 1 of Ashian so that you can recycle your Maximus or Fleur de Lis. It's really up to you. You can also use one of the monsters I will be discussing later in the extra deck for it. Okay, this is our basic Tour Guide in Sangan engine. Basically, what happens is Tour Guide pops up, brings out a Sangan, and from there you link climb up to a Link 2 that I will get to later. Sometimes I run 3 Sangans. This time I'm only running 2. But I might consider running 3 pretty soon. We got Sky Prison, because why not? It's a 3k beat stick, sets a card that you need for the next turn. At the same time, it protects your current set, spell, and trap cards. So, Harpy, Feather Duster, who? You know. Electromagnetic Turtle. This is the bastard that Sangan's gonna add, so that you can just it's a great card to have in your graveyard, especially when you search out Schism and forced to discard a card. Since this is already in your hand, you might as well discard this one, banish this stuff, and your opponent's battle phase, stuff like that. So, like for example, if you have Vanities out and a really low level attack monster, and you know they can sort of just like slap the fuck out of that monster and causing Vanities to destroy, to get sent to the graveyard as well, you could just banish this, save that monster, hence not leaving the field, hence Vanity probably not having to leave the field as well. But yeah, but generally it's just to end the battle phase and just a card you can discard freely without feeling it too much of a burden, like discarding a Fleur de Lis or something you could have probably just used instead. So we got Artifact Scythe, and this guy, I forgot his name. So the reason why we're running this is because 1, my Alba Strike SD is not here yet, and I am dying to get it, so I could run 2 Scythes instead of this one. The reason Scythe does not need an explanation why we're running this one. We're running this one because when it's special summoned, I get a special summon another artifact from the graveyard, so it's basically like having 2 Scythes. But yeah, if I had a choice, I would just run 2 Scythes instead of this, since this one's like extra steps. But we'll ultimately lead to Scythe anyway. So that's it for the monsters, and now we're on for the spells. We got Harpy's Feather Duster. Honestly, this needs no introduction. If you don't run Harpy's Feather Duster, I guess you're fine. But like the point being, this doesn't need an introduction. 2 Called by the Graves, because hand traps or anything that was resolved in the graveyard is no-go. Nadir Servant, that I wish Konami would finally put an R2 at the very least, but this is R1. This is basically reinforcement of the army of every Dogmatika deck. TCG, you got 3 of these running on your deck. You are lucky. You got 3 Salems, because half of your life points is worth it. Whatever it is your opponent is going to do, if it's a game changer, half of your life points is worth it. I don't care if you have 50. The point is, half of your life points is worth it. We got Lost Winds. This is like just a contingency. In case I ever need to discard and I don't have Electromagnetic, I can just discard this since it pops right back if you special summon anyway. Or, something for Sky Prison to set that I can freely activate in my turn. It's a pretty good stable trap card. Even if they MST it, it's okay. Okay, Artifacts Anthem. Yes, I'm running 3. The other 2 probably would be used, or maybe one of them would be used, but the point is, even if they're destroyed, I got a +1 on hand, so that's okay. Yeah, I got a draw. That's what matters there. Starlight Road. Pretty contradictory to the previous Artifact Sanctum. But the reason why I'm running this is I don't always get Sky Prison. Starlight Road just sort of helps protect, in place of Sky Prison. At the same time, it's a free Stardust. Who doesn't want a free Stardust? No. Then we got this Breakthrough. I always get the name wrong. It's a Breakthrough Skill Breakthrough. And the point is, it's something that Sky Prison can also set, something I can also chain in the graveyard. It's just so good. It's like 2 negates in 1. Although the one in the graveyard is only on your turn. Point being is that Sky Prison can get it. Even if you don't, you can just, wish you draw it. Point being is you got 2 negates in 1 card. Yeah, who doesn't want that? Fuck effects. Dogmatika punishment. I would run 3. I'm considering on running 3. But 2 is okay. 2 is fine because I go through my extra deck really quick. I don't really use it, but the point is I go through it really quick. So 2 is fine. 2 is fine. Crackdown or Manhunt. I don't know. Use whatever name you want. Was a gift from a friend, by the way, and I run 3 of these mainly because I don't, I steal your monster, rar. And there's an extra deck monster that I can use that would be pretty good with this card, and I'll explain that again later. 1 Vanities, 1 Schism. Honestly, these need no introduction. So we're going to the extra deck. This is pretty much where your tour guide comes from. Your normal tour guide, bring out a Sangan, turn tour guide into this. From there, you just use both tour guide and Sangan into this. If it's only just tour guide, if it's only just Sangan, then it goes to turn into an Almiraj and then into a Gardna. And yeah, that's pretty much why we're running these 3 links. 2 Windas, 1 Apcalone. Apcalone is your searcher for Schism. We dump that using Maximus. 2 Windas because why not? You don't get to play the game. 2 Entis. Honestly, if you play Dogmatika and don't have a single Entis in your extra deck, I don't know what's wrong with you. You run 2 of these. You can run 3 if you want. I just have to make space for my Stardust, but I usually run 3. This is like your end phase special summoner or add to hand of any Dogmatika monster. This is just to recycle whatever R1s you got. You can actually recycle Nadir. You can recycle any card you need. That's why we run Cyframe. 2 Stardusts. 1 is fine because I just mentioned you can recycle them, but I run 2 just as contingency. This is the Exceed that would benefit from Crackdown. Because if, for example, you crack down a level 4 monster of your opponent, but while you have a level 8 on your field, you can just Exceed someone with that level 4 because it will this card will treat that level 4 as a level 8, but it has to be an opponent's monster. That's why Crackdown. And this guy. Honestly, at this point, I just had nothing to put, so I decided to run 1 of these. It is pretty good, though. Like, you're not negating the effect. So, like, you're just changing it. And sometimes you wouldn't mind sacrificing maybe a Schism or a Lost Wind, whatever spell and trap you have that isn't that important. You wouldn't mind losing that compared to some other OP effect, And that's pretty much it for my Dogmatika deck profile.